It's 10 a.m. here in Seoul on Monday, August 1st. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Hwang Jie. Thanks for joining us. Our top story this morning, North Korean hackers are believed to have compromised the email accounts of scores of South Korean government officials and journalists. Prosecutors say the hackers targeted 90 officials from the Foreign Affairs, Defense, and Unification ministries and stole more than 50 email passwords in the first 6 months of this year. The Supreme Prosecutor's Office said the hackers stole the passwords by setting up phishing websites. They're looking into whether any state secrets or other critical data was obtained by the North through the hacks. The hackers are believed to be same group that hacked into Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power Corporation in 2014, stealing internal data that included plant blueprints and the personal information of employees. Korea's exports took another dive in July, extending the downward trend to a record 19th straight month. The Trade Ministry says outbound shipments tumbled 10.2% from a year ago to $41 billion. There had been some recovery hopes after the pace of decline slowed for the previous 2 months, but July's figure is back to the double-digit declines seen earlier in the year. The fall was mainly attributed to temporary factors such as fewer working days in July, as well as a slump in ship exports. Imports fell 14% on year to $33.3 billion. With that, the trade surplus came to $7.8 billion in July, extending the surplus streak to 54 straight months. Investors will have an extra 30 minutes a day to trade stocks and other commodities on Korea's markets from today. Korea Exchange expects the extension to give a much-needed boost to the country's benchmark index that has been stuck in the 1,800 to 2,000 level for years. Kim Mo-kyun reports.
Korea Exchange has announced Korea's stock and foreign exchange markets and gold exchange will extend their trading hours by 30 minutes from August 1st. The opening time will remain the same at 9 a.m., but the regular session for the stock and gold markets will close half an hour later at 3:30 p.m. Derivatives trading will end at 3:45 instead of 3:15. But Korea Exchange decided to cut 30 minutes from after-hours trading, which will now run from 3:40 to 6 p.m. The latest move marks the first change in 16 years. In the year 2000, the market operator eliminated the lunch hour break. The trading hours of Asian stock markets are generally shorter than other parts of the world, with Japan operating for 5 hours a day and China just 4. Advanced markets such as those in the U.S. operate for 6.5 hours a day, while Britain and Germany's markets are open for 8.5 hours each. Korea Exchange predicts the 30 minutes extension will see an 8% increase in trade volume, raising daily transactions by up to $610 million. It's also expected to help the domestic stock market escape from the box pattern, which the Kospi has been locked in for more than 6 years.
The extension will give investors more transaction opportunities and the chance to make use of China-related products more efficiently. It will also help Korea escape from the so-called Box P.
However, competition with Beijing is expected to grow since the extended hours will allow investors to reflect market information from the Chinese market, which closes at 4 p.m. Korea time. Kim Mo-kyun, ARIRANG News.
Oxy is now accepting applications for compensation from the victims of its toxic humidifier disinfectant. The British-based firm laid out its final compensation plan on Sunday. It said it would fully cover the victims' medical expenses and provide up to $315,000 to the families of those seriously harmed or killed by exposure to the said product. Oxy will provide almost $900,000 for infants and children who were seriously affected or died because of this chemical. The final compensation package is almost identical to the original offer presented in June, except that it includes additional compensation of $45,000 if there is more than one victim in the same household. The U.S. Air Force is sending B-1 stealth bombers to Guam for the first time in a decade. The Hawaii-based Pacific Command says an undisclosed number of B-1s will deploy to Andersen Air Force Base on August 6th. to replace B-52 bombers that have been on Guam as part of U.S. Air Force's continuous bomber presence mission. The B-1 bombers will be accompanied by about 300 airmen. The move comes as China has been upping its flights in the increasingly tense South China Sea. Officials say the B-1s, which have a low radar cross-section and can fly at more than 1,500 kilometers an hour, will provide the U.S. with a significant rapid global strike capability. With Election Day now less than 100 days away, Hillary Clinton has regained a razor-thin lead over her Republican rival Donald Trump after she accepted her nomination at last week's DNC. According to a poll published by the Morning Consult on nearly 2,000 registered voters on Sunday, Clinton had a 3-point lead over Trump with 43% and 40% respectively. This is a 7-point swing from the previous poll, which saw Trump surge to a 4-point lead with 44% to 40% following the Republican Party's convention. The poll also showed that Clinton had made gains with independent voters and with men. The latest survey has a margin of error of plus or minus 2 percentage points. The Islamic State militant group has called for more terror attacks against Christians following the recent killing of a priest in France. The cover of the latest issue of the group's Dabiq magazine shows an ISIS member ripping a cross off the roof of a church with the title "Break the Cross." ISIS also called on others to join the terror group and for its members in Western countries to attack Christians without hesitation. The magazine also urged its members to target Pope Francis, saying he's hiding behind a deceptive veil of goodwill towards Muslims. And that brings us to the end of our newscast. I'm Hung Jie. More updates coming up at noon, so stay tuned and goodbye for now.